Hey Mel, it's Jack. Hey, I really like the spreadsheet that you developed. I was going to show you some other tricks that you can do in Excel, and one is that if you format the data a little bit differently, you can do some analysis of it. And when I say a little bit differently, one of the things you want to do is to, for every purchased item, and I'll use Brandon Weisbecker's here as an example, for every purchased item, you want to put their name, the date, and so on. So I've repeated this. Your original spreadsheet only had his name one time, but I'll show you why this is important as I show you these other tabs. So you can see I've got the same basic information that you had. I've organized it a little bit differently. Took the lines, the blank lines out, and so on. So this puts it in what I would call a database format. Now what you can do from this now is you can generate pivot tables, and pivot tables are basically just an analysis tool. It's a fancy name for a summary table. So I've created three different pivot tables here at the bottom here. So the first one is, I call it buyer totals, and basically what this is, it shows the amount or the person's name, whether they've paid or not. There's a yes and a no column, and then there's also the amount. Okay, so what this shows is if you look at the total at the bottom here, we've had $765 and 78 cents that has been paid, and there's still a $717 balance. So that's the first pivot table, and it shows the sum in this column here, but the total is $1,482.95. So we've sold quite a bit of stuff so far. The second pivot table I put together is I've organized it by product. So this shows you, so like for the ice cream, we only sold one tub of ice cream at $4.99. So it shows you the total. We've sold $67.50 of mac and cheese, and so on. One of the things I noticed in your data, you had used both fries and French fries, and I changed everything to French fries, so I only have one entry here for French fries. Now if I go to paid versus unpaid, so this is just a simple table that shows, yes, there's this $765 has been paid, $717 has not been paid. So I'm going to go back to the input data page, and I'm going to show you how to build a pivot table. So basically what you do is once you get your data organized like this, you can highlight the table, and then I'm going to go to insert. Now your version of Excel is a little bit different than mine, so this won't be exactly right. So, but anyhow, I'd insert a pivot table, and now it gives you the range, and it shows here it's selected the entire range of this particular table. And I usually add a few extra rows to it. So let's say we're going to add more stuff to this. I'm going to just make that 50. Okay. So now here's the pivot table page. It's on sheet 10 in my workbook here. Um, so let's say I want to organize it, the pivot table by product. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the product and put it down here in the rows box. Okay, so what it does, it lists all of these products here. The total the total for those products is this total, and this is the heading at the top of the column. So I'm going to just drag that into the values. So now what I've got is a summary of all of the items that we've sold. Okay, it doesn't tell us whether it's been paid for or not. So if we want to know whether it's been paid for or not, I'm going to take this paid column and I'm going to put it in the columns box here. So now what I've got is I've got whether it's paid or not. Okay, so um, if I wanted to go a little bit further, let's say I wanted to see this by the person's name, I'm going to get rid of this product here, and I'm going to drag the name down in here. Now I've got it by name. Shows you paid and unpaid and so on. The other thing is, the last thing is, I've got this blank down here. Remember I selected 50 rows. Well, there's a lot of rows that are blank, so I'm going to get rid of that. If I click on this little drop down here, okay, and I uncheck this blank here, Okay, now I don't have the blank on there. So there you have it. That's all I wanted to show you. If you format it a little bit differently on your input data, you can do this type of analysis on it. So I am going to delete this sheet right here, and I'm going to send this to you here in just a little bit. So hopefully this wasn't too boring for you. Thanks, Mel.